Hey, tired, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite albums. And today I'm going to do my second review of the day, and that would be an album that I should review, and that is Protomartyr's The Agent Intellect. In the year 2017, Protomartyr released an album called Relatives of Descent. I heard about this album because of Fantano. I gave it a listen, and at first I thought it was really good, but the more I listen to it, the more I love it, and now I'm at a point where I basically like every single track off of that album. Of course, some tracks are better than the other, but still, every single track is amazing in Relatives of Descent. This album is moody, it is dark, it is very desolate, and also very cold and wintry, but also at the same time very catchy, very driving, sometimes dreamy as well. It is amazing. Protomartyr's Relatives and Descent slowly became one of my favorite albums of the entire 2010s, and I think it really represents how I feel whenever I walk into my old secondary school. Just this overwhelming sense of coldness and darkness and dread that's just overbearing on all of us innocent children. But still, Protomartyr has been a band that I really look forward to. So last year they dropped Ultimate Success Today, which I gave a really positive score of a 9 out of 10. And yeah, I still really like it to this day. The instrumentals are really rich and flavorful. I like the versatility in the track list, even though some songs didn't age as well as songs off of Relatives and Descent. I still think it's a pretty solid album. But one album that I'm always dying to talk about, one album that I really, really want to talk about but didn't have the time to, is The Agent Intellect, released in 2015, which is the album before Relatives in Descent. And this album is kind of like Relatives in Descent in that it is very moody, dejected post-punk with a lot of danceable grooves that I really like. Maybe a little bit more rough around the edges, maybe not as powerful as Relatives in Descent, but still a fantastic album nonetheless. First of all, Joe Casey, the frontman of the band, comes forward with these very masculine and firm vocals, which adds to the coldness and the boldness of the music on the album. The lyrics remain incredibly abstract and poetic, revealing morbid stories and strange concepts that are kind of vague but also kind of there. And I also love the very wintry, icy production of this album. It is very dusty and it is kind of sad and it's drowning in its own sadness, but there's something really beautiful about that. I love the album cover. I really love it when old figures, whether it be sculptures or paintings, are in an album cover or a movie poster. It just makes it even better. But the album starts out with The Devil and His Youth, and oh my goodness, I love this song. If you were to tell me to choose my favorite Protomartyr song, it would be a tie between Half Sister and this track. The Devil and His Youth is an absolutely banger of an opening. There are no breaks in the track, it's just one solid blast of a song. The buzzing guitars are very cold and bitter, but also at the same time kind of bright and euphoric. And then we get this very driving drum beat and this really catchy and short and also at the same time kind of tragic bass line on this track. Dun 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 dun. The very cold and solid vocals work really well on this track. The devil in his youth, the blessings from his father. I will make them feel the way I do. And lyrically, essentially, the song is about a kid, a suburban kid, who's basically the devil, even though a lot of people around that kid basically supports that kid, but he ends up hurting the people around him because he feels hurt himself, so he inflicts this pain upon others. And it is a track that's kind of thought-provoking because of, I guess, the concept of evil and what's good and what's bad is actually kind of vague and especially in the context of this devil who's trying to inflict pain upon others. It makes you think. It really does. Anyways, the next track is Cowards Starve. It has a really odd drum groove and these very sour guitars that are kind of weird and hanging. The chorus is where these raggedy bass starts to float out from the muddy seams, and lyrically, the protagonist seems to think that he or she holds special knowledge and wants to preach that to the people around the protagonist, which is kind of metaphorical and also kind of an allegory, but also kind of reveals what is the situation when it comes to spreading knowledge, whether it be maybe religion or maybe politics or maybe just knowledge in general. But it's another interesting track lyrically. I Forgive You has a very immediate opening. We have a very freaky and playful guitar line in this track and very sporadic spoken word, which is really fun. And I'm really liking it. It's very playful, it's very catchy, and there's more of a human side to the lyrics that I really like. And then we have Boyce or Boice, and it has these bitter and bright guitars, and it starts off really strong, but the rest of the track is just kind of alright instrumentally, and also there are some very obvious Nick Cave influences on this track. And there is that, probably a low point in the album for me. But afterwards, pretty much every single track is good. Pontiac 87 has this very driving constant beat and a very sweet wintry bass line, and lyrically it deals with a very morbid story of a pope visiting this place called the Silver Dome in the year 1987. And the track sort of deviates from that lyrically, but it still basically surrounds themes of disillusionment and disappointment, and how Paul is knocked off by his feet, like how in the Bible Paul is this guy who really wants to persecute all the Christians, and then one day he sees God, he gets knocked off on a horse, and he gets blinded by the very strong light, and then after that he basically changes, and this song basically echoes that story. And we also have Uncle Mother's, which is a song that totally slaps. The drums are very tight and the bass line, woo! And then these walls of light flickering guitars appearing in the chorus that's just so sharp and shrill, sort of cycling in the back, and also the very explosive ending. It's just kind of amazing. And the track Dope Cloud is alright in my opinion. The guitars are milder and the vocals are definitely not as strong or as solid, but it still serves as a pretty nice post-punk track with very intoxicating guitars, and also is not gonna save you man, is not gonna save you man. The Hermit is another total freaking post-punk banger, starting off with very mystifying deserty guitars and a vocal bit that basically narrates over this very old book about birth defects in babies. And it's creepy, it's strange, and it transitions into this very solid blast of rock song, easily the most intense moment on the entire album. The guitars are shrill, are riveting, riding, driving, the drums are just ever so tight, it's incredibly danceable, and the vocals are whack, they're freaky, they're all over the places, over the mountains, in the sky. It's absolutely amazing. Do I escape? Maybe I leave? Ride out? I don't think so. They lie, they lie, they lie, they lie. Clandestine Time is probably my second favorite song on the entire album. It is an absolute highlight. The drums are very quick, but what really makes this track amazing is the chords on this track. It's so concerning, so worrying, and so intense, but also kind of sweet, but also kind of tragic, and all of these feelings combined, enveloping on itself, and it is amazing. And lyrically, it is about these small things existing in this world, but we can't see, but we're there because of the dust that we're breathing. They don't see us. They don't see us, us, and sort of this delaying effect. And it's kind of creepy, kind of scary, but also kind of interesting. Like believing that there are some ulterior works that we don't know that are happening in our daily lives, and how, almost like fate, but I guess this track isn't exactly about fate, but it's almost like the concept of fate, where we do something and we think there is something else happening ulteriorly, and it's pretty interesting and kind of existential even. And then we have the track Why Does It Shake, which is amazing. If you have seen the live video, the video where Protomartyr performs this live, wow, what a performance! Where we have this very solid mechanical cycling bass line, bum 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 bum, and we have Joe Casey's lyrics about false happiness, happiness on a roof, which is a reference to the Pharrell Williams song Happy, kind of funny, kind of cheeky, kind of loving it, and also I am the founder of myself, and then afterwards, we're never gonna lose it, never gonna lose it, never gonna lose it, and then the beat changes from that to another slower one, boom, 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 and it just transitions into this chorus. Why does it shake? The body, the body, the body, the body, the body, the body. Why does it move? The fear, the fear, the fear, the fear, the fear, the fear. It's threatening. It sounds threatening, but it also sounds very calm and collected, which is really cool. And then the track just ends off in this very shimmery, loud guitar passage where all the energy gets lost, and basically the protagonist of the song accepts his or her fate and probably dies. But this track just goes to show the vulnerability of humanity. And then we have the 6.5 minute long Ellen, which I understand why some people wouldn't like this track. Production wise, it is kind of strange. The guitars are very loud and the vocals are mixed really low, but knowing the lyrics and the context of this track, I managed to appreciate the track even more. I like the dense, buzzing, cold guitars, and lyrics are actually really sad. Basically, Joe Casey sings in the perspective of his deceased father, hoping that his wife would join him, and it's really sad. And the fact that the lyrics are and the vocals are sort of drowned in a mix just reinforces the sadness that exudes in the song. But essentially, the album ends off with the Feast of Stephen, which is a very conclusive ending to the album. It's got solid guitar chords that are kind of dreamy, but also somewhat uneasy and strange. The performances are solid, and it's an okay ending. Not necessarily all that great, but it's okay. But still, this album is incredibly underrated. Not enough people are talking about this album. Not enough people are talking about Protomartyr. This album is fantastic. I'm liking it. I'm loving it. My favorite track here is The Devil in His Youth, and my least favorite is Boyce or Boice. I'm giving Protomartyr the Agent Intellect strong 8 out of 10. So, have you listened to the Agent Intellect? From 1 to 10, how much you rate it? Like it, and subscribe if you want more. And thanks for watching.